Good morning, everybody. So we are back again working on the 95, the big girl. Right in here, this guy. And kind of kicking ourselves because we made this way more difficult than we had to. So because it wasn't steering right, it wasn't doing auto steer, it would kick off all the time. We took the entire cab apart. So this panel out here, just about every interior panel, all the wiring you could think of. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Tested these terminators, and after going on a whole wild goose chase up there, we figured out that it was the EH valve, the electro-hydraulic control valve, which basically lets the computer of the machine do the steer work back there where it's articulated. And so we were told that it was likely that the EH valve is in here underneath the cab behind that hydraulic reservoir there. So we get most of the way there, getting everything taken off of that, unbolted, hoses taken off of their fittings. And last night we stopped because we wanted to make sure that we were kind of going the right way to get that EH valve. And after a little bit of searching and deep diving, we realized that it was nowhere up there, but instead, sorry, not here. Instead, we go around over here, and it is right there. Which will kind of make you kick yourself, because we went through what's going to be 3 days of this thing being down for seating when it could have been up and running probably the next morning if we had run into town and gone apart. If it was there, it was in Denver, was the closest, so it's getting shipped to the dealership today. We're going to get it here a little bit before noon, throw it back in there, and then get this thing running. But for anybody wondering if your tractor will auto steer correct one direction but not the other, you know what your problem is. And hopefully this can help you out. But now we're just going to go try to get that computer controller out of there so we can replace it. So this right here is the culprit. This is little box right here, kind of right there. That's the end of it. Just goes right in there, sits here, and this controls all of your auto steer inputs to allow your tractor to steer. So might not be considered critical, but in order to use auto steer, which is really helpful with being as efficient as possible with our time, our fuel, seed, all that, we like to use it. So yeah, pretty important. But crazy how just one little computer can cause such a wild goose chase. But yep, we're gonna get this guy all cleaned out best we can, kind of wire brush in there on that joint, clean it up with some brake clean, and it'll be good to go. So as you can tell, 9530 is back up and running. Let me show you the culprit. Looks like it's packaged back up. We might have a core charge or something. So this controller right here, there you plug in. I think it's a 5-pin harness, maybe a 4. Then that you get signals from your other computers, mainly your guidance for your steering, and that in turn runs a set of valves and whatnot back here, which interact with the hydraulic valve block, which in turn runs the hydraulics for your steering, which basically allows the computer to steer the tractor without the use of an ATU physically turning the steering wheel. So the steering wheel can just be left undisturbed, and all of the steering input is entirely just direct hydraulic drive from computer input. So they're out there. They're going to go do a little bit of calibration on it, make sure everything's working properly, tracking, all that. He's going to go down, going to make sure he's good for seeding. Then we're going to get the sprayer put into the shop, vacuum it out a little bit, a couple odd jobs. We already greased it the other day. And then it's just seeding from here on out for a little while, the remaining 2 weeks. I'm going to have to get some fertilizer out here, treat some seed, all that good stuff. And we can get this beauty here back in full operation. So lots of good stuff in the works. Pretty glad that we got that fixed, but kind of disappointing when stuff like that just craps out seemingly out of the blue. But nonetheless, we'll get rolling pretty soon and it'll be all good again. So what you saw us doing just there in the 95 was calibrate. First we calibrated the TCM, and then we actually calibrated it on straight line. Basically what you're supposed to do is run it straight on track at, they say 10, our fields are too rough for 10, so we ran 8 miles an hour for 5 minutes. And basically what that's going to do is just kind of gonna give the GPS a little bit of a feel for keeping you on that straight track, kind of get it used to itself again after doing some calibration. So got that done. We're back here over at the field. Here's a little bit we planted. Got the seed here. Probably not going to need that today. The tractor is on its way, and then Dad's going to be here also with the 4-wheeler, and we're just going to follow along behind, make sure everything's good, make sure GPS is working right, all of the CAN bus systems with the driller working properly, as well as the actual seed here, making sure that our depth is good, that we're sitting right in the mud. Moisture, you want to plant into moisture, obviously. Plants need that. And then also we're going to go do a meter test, flow test, make sure that we've got seed and fertilizer coming out of every single opener, so that we know that we're getting all of our bases covered in that department. And from there it should just be happy seeding until we feel like being done tonight. And then right back at it tomorrow morning, get up early, load up the drill, get more fertilizer ordered to come out here. There should be enough seed in this to cover this field. We're going to need to be treating some more seed in the next few days, but we can do that between drill fills, especially here on the home place. So all that being said, we will wait for the drill to get here, and hopefully the fun begins and we don't have any other big mishaps like we've been having for a little while. Knock on wood, or the grain truck, whatever you want to do. So, as you just saw, I just got out of a drill. Me and Grandpa have been kind of tag teaming back and forth, running it. This will be my first year running the drill, so he was kind of helping me get the hang of it. He's doing his last pass back now before we shut down for the night, and I figured I'd step out and film him a little bit. And looks like he's coming down the hill right now, so gonna get a good glimpse of the unit before we turn in for the night. Pretty good.
Turn the fan on too.
Okay. So one thing to keep an eye out with these is how straw can get packed in here really easily, and then you've got dirt that's just constantly wearing the sides of your disc blade here. It just isn't great for wear life and all that. It's not going to hurt it, but if you've got time, go ahead and clean it out. And then these hoses are also something to inspect, and so what'll happen is they'll split down here below the blockage sensing, and then it'll start coming out, but no blockage monitor warning will come on up your cab. So the best way to figure out if there's any kind of leaks in your hose is to kind of go once over the entire implement here and just look for any wheat seed or fertilizer that's sitting on the frame. Don't see any over here, don't see any on the other side, so it looks like we're going to be okay. And I think that now, since the fertilizer truck isn't here quite yet, we're probably going to fill up seed for now, and then when the blue truck gets over here with fertilizer, we'll load it up too. But yeah, we're on track for a decent shape start. It's a beautiful morning, clear, calm, a little bit chilly, but feels good.
Down? Up.